I came to Australia in 2006. So this is way back a couple of years ago. Before that, I lived in refugee camp. This was in refugee camp called Kakuma in Kenya. So my parents escaped a war in South Sudan, and they traveled all the way to Kenya, usually by foot. Majority of them traveled by foot. Then they found asylums at the refugee camp. The refugee camp was actually very interesting because the lifestyle there was what we used to. Everything was quite normal. Everything was just normalized because wasn't that much expectation on what's on the outside world. It's just like one of those philosophy where if you exist within that box, the only thing you know is what's in that box. So whatever that's outside of the box, you won't be able to really question that or have the desire to escape the box. So I was basically satisfied. And this is primarily based on the fact that I was young as well. So my life expectation when as huge as some other people as you get older. So life was basically simple. Then finally we came to Australia. That was in 2006. At that time I was just amazed by everything. Everything was so new. There's so much lights. In particular, the airport. The airport was just amazing. It's crazy, I was like, where was this part of the world? You know what I mean? I had never seen anything like it. I never seen so much buildings. Never seen so much shiny stuff. It got to a point where sometimes it hurts my eye because I was used to the dark. When I was in refugee camp, we had no electricity, so there was too much light. It was so much bright. It was too bright. But I was just super excited. I was just so happy, and there was so much nice people too. There was a lot of incredible people. Clary was one of them as well. He's a godfather. He's a friend of my father's. He's a very old person. He's a very nice person as well, religious person. So helpful as well. He's the one that actually helped our family come to Australia. He helped pay the way for our family to pay for the ticket and so on. And obviously, he's not South Sudanese, he's not African and so on. Like, he's Australian. But it was just incredible that somebody out there that is a stranger, I've never met before, never heard of, they have no idea about me, that I exist, but they just think that, we can just help them. So it was just so much, it was a kind of overwhelming to come to a new area where everything is just so new. I think the term refugee to me, I think it means the fact that there's certain human beings out there who haven't been given that basic lifestyle or the living standard that is sufficient, or the right standard that people need to sufficiently live a healthy life. So as a refugee always lack a few things that maybe the other side of the world have. For example, shelter, and resources such as food, support as well. And usually a lot of refugees, there's always an issue with the country that they lived in, like the original place that they started from. There's always some sort of political issue or something that's given that huge disadvantage in life for them to really like at least chase their dreams, or at least be free, at least be a free person without having to constantly worry about all these needs of life and not die. Of course, there's a huge misconception about what does it mean to be a refugee. I'll give you an example. A refugee, this is just an assumption. Someone out there might think someone who is a refugee is somebody who needs saving. somebody who just needs to be given everything, be spent food because they've struggled, like they've been through the hardest life. So therefore, we should just give them free water, free food, free this, free this. So when people look at refugees like that, they start to not understand that these people are human beings. They were working hard before life circumstances hit them. They were human beings like everybody else. They were just they're hard workers. They do possess some sort of an intellectual ability, whether even if they don't speak the language that is the standard, they still are very intelligent. You know, they can communicate, they can form ideas, and they can participate in the workforce. So there's a huge misconception about what does it mean to be a refugee. A lot of people believe that these people are just getting saved for no reason and they have not contributed back to humanity, or they don't deserve it. And that is an issue. Or the fact that there's other misconceptions, such as these people have suffered so much and they've gone through so much trauma. So therefore, who knows, there might be psychological have been affected, which could affect the way they live within our society. Like our society, will they be able to function within our society? Will they be able to know that you should not steal, you should not do this, you should not do this, you should not do this, or you should speak a this certain way? So every refugee is unique in his own way because of where the environment they came to, including the experience they're gonna go through. A refugee camp just allowed me to really express my creativity, and I think that's where my creativity initially started from. I was able to create something out of absolutely nothing, or out of something that's not the ordinary way of creating that thing. King Jag, well, I'll start with Jag. So Jag is my full name, my initials. So John Ayuel Guy, so that's Jag. And King was just, I was just trying to think of something cool, you know? And then my mate was like, oh, come on, you know, just go King, you know? And I'm like, yeah, I'll start with King. And yeah, it just became King Jag. So I've just been making music ever since it's King Jag, ever since I started that brand name. All I had to do was just create a Facebook account and King Jag, and just start posting stuff. And people started perceiving me as King Jag, and I started to see the attraction. So music became one of my biggest passion. I still do consider myself as a refugee. If somebody labels me as a refugee, I don't see that as an offense. I'm not offended by that. In fact, I would also appreciate the fact that that person at least has tried to label me or categorize me to certain group at least, So I wouldn't be offended. All the refugees out there, the best thing I would just tell them, if I see one of them, is just be patient. Patience is everything. It took us about 5 years before we were accepted to come to Australia. And that was very tough. All the refugees out there, they're not looking for a savior. They're just looking for a new location to settle in, just a new land, just to put their hut down, get a house, cook some food. That's all they want. They want the basic stuff. So I guess be patient, have faith. That's what I would tell them. Have faith.